Alright, how's it going, guys? My name is MadpwnageTV, and today we have a For Honor tier list for you. We are going to be going everywhere from the Knights all the way to the Wu Lin, and we are including the Warmonger and the Gryphon in this tier list. So if you guys are interested in those guys, they're going to be in here. So, I'm a Rep 70 Centurion console player. I'm top 1% in the world. I feel like I have a really good opinion on when it comes to how the characters play and just how good they are on, in a sense. So, enough of all that. We're going to dive right into it. We're going to start off with the War Mommy. The War Mommy is a solid S tier. She has everything going for her. She has a bash with a level 1 and a level 2. Also has hyper armor on her bash. Her heavies have hyper armor, and she also has enhanced lights. She has an unblockable dodge attack that's also able to be feinted. She has a undodgeable gap closer, as well as I think I meant hyper armor on the heavies. She only has an undodgeable gap closer, which is OP if anybody's trying to run away from her. And she also has a side dodge bash, excuse me. War Mom, all around, solid character. You cannot go wrong with picking the War Mom. Moving right along, we got Mr. Senti Boy, the Centurion, the man, the myth, the legend, the Roman boy. I love him. Rep 70 Cent, I'm a Centurion main. He was C tier before rework. Before rework, he really was not a good character at all. I still played him though because I just loved the character overall. I just really enjoy playing him. But he is not S tier, he is A tier. He has a 50-50 bash with hyper armor, so that's nice and spicy. He has an unblockable that can be soft feinted, and his heavies can be soft feinted. He has a hyper armor gap closer, which is okay. It's very situational when you want to use it. Most of the time it either gets dodged or parried. But his bread and butter for the most part comes in with his bash. That's what actually brings him up to A tier, is being able to feint his unblockable and also being able to feint his bash. He'd probably be higher if he had a little bit more, like for example, if he did a little bit more damage on his Eagle's Talons. But because of that, he is sitting at A tier. So moving right along, we have the Conqueror. The Conqueror, I'm going to put him at a B tier. You could argue he's A tier. I don't think he's S tier though. He's a solid character. He has the All Guard, which is really good at preventing light spam. The bash though, if you read it, it's very easy to dodge it, and if he follows the light up afterwards, it's very easy to get a light parry off. That's why he's not higher. He can also feint heavies into bashes, but if you're reading it, it's really easy to dodge them. If he was able to feint those bashes, he'd probably be higher. I'm pretty sure he has, his zone attack is solid. His zone is actually what brings him up some, but he really doesn't have too much. He's really bash reliant, but he is a solid character, definitely. Not the prim de la prim, but he is definitely good. Moving right along, we have the BP. BP is S tier all the way. His shield bash does not have a counter to it. I think you might be able to use the Gryphon dodge attack, and I don't even think that counters it because I think he recovers fast enough to actually be able to block that. That's crazy as a bash that can't be punished, man. I'm still baffled by that one. But he has his a profuntis stance, so he's able to parry anything just by going into it. Yeah, he's guard break vulnerable, but he also has undodgeable heavies. Those are solid, especially if you're conditioning them to dodging the bash. He can also feint a heavy into a shield bash, which is a really solid opener, as well as his zone is, I'd say, the second best in the game, only beaten by the Gladiator. His zone is solid. It's like, just throw it, and it knocks anybody out of their unblockable. You get your light attack, dude. GG. But, BP, solid character. Unblockable, unblockable heavy that's also able to be feinted too. So that's solid, nice for baiting out parries. Yeah, BP, all-around solid character, very safe to use, very, very safe. Moving on to the Gladiator. Gladiator, some people don't agree with me on this one, but I still feel the same way. Gladiator is S tier. Alright, like with the state of the game on console, remember this is from a console perspective, dude has a 4 light chain, and if you're not on point with blocking and parrying your lights, he's gonna get you, and oh man, can that be rough. His, what's it called? His unblockable, harpoon is also able to be feinted into a guard break or a toe stab, so it prevents actually being option selected. He can also feint it into another light and then go into his 4 light chain. Super solid. Also, if he gets a toe stab on while opponent's out of stamina, it's pretty much GG. He has a very solid punish. The exact damage values I don't know off the top of my head, but solid character definitely. Moving along, we have the Warden. The Warden, I would say, honestly, he's a Warmonger that's just not as good. From what I know, his bash, I think it has hyper armor on the level 3. It has some really good tracking. His unblockable can only come from the top, but it is able to be option selected. He can feint it into a light if he wants to, but I really feel like he does need the rework that they're giving him just to spice his gameplay up a bit more. His bash is solid, which is why he's so high on the A tier, and he also has a really good zone attack for option selects. Besides that, he doesn't really have too much working with him. It's very bash reliant, and if his bash wasn't so good, he'd probably be lower on the tier list. Next we have PK. PK is a D tier. She has nothing going for her. She has soft feints into guard breaks, but as long as you just go and block the attack and make sure you counter guard break, she's not going to get any bleeds off on you. The only time a PK actually gets a little tricksy with me is if she's spamming the zone and I'm not expecting it, and if she soft feints into the top light for the bleed. Those are the only 2 moves that get me, and that's honestly really all she has. She's really not that good, and she needs that rework definitely. Way more than the Warden does, because the Warden still is a good character. The PK is a horrible character. But definitely, you can still use him. Honestly, like a little joke in my community is PKs are the bane of my existence. I am horrible at fighting PKs. It's just because soft feints get me. So don't mind me. I'm like, PKs are rough for me, but for the majority of the community, not at all. Like, and it's only if a PK is actually good that they actually get me. If it's a shitty PK, then I'm gonna... But, yeah, definitely needs some work there. Mr. Gryphon, dude. Oh, man, the Gryphon. Fucking strong. Holy crap. Anyway, so the Gryphon, he has 2 bashes that are solid. His first bash, which can be done from neutral, there's no indicator that he's doing it, because you hold the back button while pressing square. But it has amazing tracking. He gets a guaranteed light from it, and after that light, he is able to go into either a undodgeable light or his 5 millisecond bash that guarantees 28 damage. It forces you into that 50-50 that you're either going to eat the light attack or you're going to eat the bash. Because for the most part, like when you dodge, you can't really react too much to it. You have to just dodge that kick that he's sending out, because that's 28 damage, dude. That's a lot of damage. You'd rather eat the light. He also has a very good dodge attack, which is able to start chains for him, so he can immediately go into his unblockable kick or his undodgeable light. Solid character all around, has everything that he needs for the most part. I feel he needs a nerf. Like, if there was an S+ tier, Gryphon would be on there with the Warmom. Warmom needs to have her enhanced lights taken away, and Gryphon needs to either have the damage value on that kick lowered, or I think he needs to have the damage value on the kick lowered to like 23, 25, Not too much difference from 28, but still, at 28 is a lot. His dodge attack is a heavy attack that can be used as a chain starter. The dodge attack is just ridiculously good. It should be a light attack and shouldn't be able to be used as a chain starter, but that's my opinion. I don't think dodge attacks should be chain starters. I think they should just be quick punishes, and then you guys reset and then go back into the duel. I don't agree with how they have dodge attacks in this game, but it is what it is. Moving right along, we have the Lawbringer. I would say Mr. LB is at B tier. He has his bash that's decent, but it's decent. If you get beat by a Lawbringer, it's because that Lawbringer was good at the game and he knew what to do. I'm noticing, like, he's very feint into guard break reliant for the most part. I'm also not an LB main, so, you know, I could be wrong. But, yeah, like, he has his unblockable heavy finisher, but you gotta throw a light and a heavy to get to that point. His bash is okay. It was a lot better when it had hyper armor. He'd probably be like maybe even S tier when he had that hyper armor on that bash. But now he's very feint reliant into the guard breaks to actually do something, in my experience. So he's lower down on the scale. You guys are gonna notice there's a lot of S tiers because there's S tier. S tiers are the characters that are just solid all around. They can do their thing. There should be an S plus tier because the Lightlander, dude, oh man. All they have to do is spam the lights and holy crap will they do their thing, man, because they got crushing encounters on those lights and oh my god, they come out so fast, dude. And that's not even getting into his offensive stance, man, because he has the whole offensive stance, the kick that can be feinted into the grab. Oh, man. Highlander, solid. He has the one gap closer where he feints the heavy into the side heavy that does a dodge. I don't know what the name is called. The name of the move is called, but Highlander, solid, dude. Heavies with unblockables. You can't go wrong with the Highlander. Crushing encounters, hyper armor. He's just good all the way around. So this one, I've been a bit conflicted with this, but I still feel the same way about it with the Berserker. Honestly, I'm thinking I'm going to lower him down one because he does not have a bash. He has a amazing chain with the heavies and the lights and his unblockable from the top. Just solid mix-up potential, man. Just solid. And if he on his third heavy in the chain, he can throw the unblockable from heavy side or from any side with the third attack in the chain. He's able to do that. Solid character, man. Best deflect in the game by far. Nobody has a better deflect than him. Hyper armor on the heavies. Hyper armor opener. Solid character. Only thing he's lacking is a bash, though. Moving right along, we have the Raider. I would put the Raider at B tier. His unblockable zone is okay. It can be feinted into a guard break, but if you just option select it, it's GG on that one. He has his light tap, which is pretty solid, but if you're expecting it, it's a pretty easy parry with a heavy punish. Hyper armor on the heavies, that's nice, but those heavies are pretty slow. Yeah, I'd say that's all he has. Honestly, he might be a bit lower down, but he does have that unblockable, and he does have that hyper armor, so he's sitting nice at B tier. Potentially could be A tier, but with the lack of a bash, he's B tier. We have Shaman now. Shaman, I would say, is honestly probably S tier. She has a really good opener that's very hard to dodge or even block. If she gets a bleed off on you from her zone, which normally she will because that soft feint is fast, getting that neck gives her stamina back. I'm pretty sure it heals her, and it does like 35 damage to whoever she got the neck with. Very solid. She can bash if she's not going for the neck. She has an unblockable that can be feinted. She has a solid dodge attack. Very good character all around. Could not go wrong with the Shaman. Valkyrie. So, Valkyrie. I would honestly say she's A tier. She might be higher if she had an unblockable, which she does not. But she has really solid mix-up potential with her bashes and her sweeps. And holy crap, man, do her lights track. Like, oh, dude, that shit gets so annoying. The All Guard is really good at catching somebody who's trying to catch you with a light. You can feint the heavies into a bash. Light attacks are solid. The sweep, the only punish for it is to use a dodge attack. And any character that doesn't have the dodge attack can't punish her sweep, so that's fun. And if you dodge her bash from All Guard, she can throw a follow-up light right after. So if you're expecting it, it's a light parry, but for the most part, you know, you're eating it. And she's able to go into a chain from there. She's a very solid character. Not quite S tier, but definitely strong A tier for sure. So moving right along, we have the Jormungandr. I'm going to put that man at A tier too. He's the only character that when a Goki has his second feat can still knock the Goki down. Does not make any sense to me. Centurion should be able to do the same thing. But it is what it is, I guess. He has an unblockable that he can feint into either a bash, guard break, or a light. Solid character. He has a undodgeable light for the follow-up on his chain starter. Good character all around, really solid out of stamina pressure, and one of the best punishes in the game. I'm talking about the one where you knock them down while they're out of stamina, you dodge to the side, you light attack, and then you hit them with that full unblockable heavy. That knocks them down, and then you get that hammer slam. Ooh, man, that shit is satisfying, and I hate it when it happens to me. Jormungandr is a great character. Definitely great character. Not S tier, but definitely solid. Next we got Warlord. Warlord would be lower if it wasn't for his enhanced lights and his hyper armor. He's very reliant on light spamming, and then when you go to actually start parrying those lights is when he starts using the hyper armor heavies to get you. That's pretty much all he has to work with. He has an unblockable zone, which is pretty solid if somebody's trying to get away from you. But as long as you're expecting it, you're always going to parry it. He has an all guard stance, which is really good with defending, with defending light spam, but his headbutt is a decent opener, but there's not very much mix-up potential with him. So he's sitting nice and pretty at B. Next we have Mr. Kensei. Mr. Kensei, I'm going to put him at A tier. His lights are solid, he has hyper armor on his heavies, and he is able to soft feint his unblockable into either a bash or a hyper armor heavy, or if he's feeling cheeky, he can do a light attack. Best dodge attack in the game, the only one that matches it is Gryphon. Kensei's solid character, dude. Light dodge spam is a thing on console, and it works whenever you have the Kensei. You don't even need to use the rest of his kit. But he has such a solid kit that, yeah, if you play him properly, you'll smash people. If you play him like a noob and just light dodge spam, you'll still smash people, unless they're actually able to parry the dodge attack. Kensei, S tier all the way. Next, we got Miss Nobushi. I'm going to put her at C tier. Miss Nobushi is not that good. Her hidden stance is okay. But if you're expecting it, you just light attack her out of it, and she's not really going to go into that hidden stance. Like, if you're throwing a heavy, she goes into the hidden stance, feint the heavy light attack, and then you're into your combo. She's very reliant on keeping a gap from the other person and just poking them endlessly. She's very reliant on the poke light spam. Easy counter is just use a hyper armor gap closer. For example, the Centurion, his opener, one of them, that's an example to use it, is when the Nobushi starts light spamming you before you can even get up to her. Just dodge your kick, parry the follow-up light, and it's GG. Her dodge is really easy to bait, her dodge attack, and if she goes into the hidden stance and you fate your heavy into a guard break, you get a free guard break on her. Yeah, so she's not that good. She could use some work. Moving on, we have the Orochi. Orochi would be higher. He has some good counters for people that are trying to light spam back. He has a really good dodge attack, but if it's baited and parried, they get a heavy punish, so eh. It also doesn't have that superior dodge property, so his dodge attack's not that good. He has a really decent opener, and he probably would be lower, down to like B or C, but since he got that unblockable, that bumped him up to A. That unblockable gives him some really solid mix-up potential so that he doesn't have to just solely rely on light spam. I don't know what the move is, but it's when he like moves backwards and does an attack immediately. If it wasn't for that move, he would probably be lower. But that's a really good counter, like the All Guard is for some characters. Like he'll still get caught with a light, but it's a really solid move to use. Shinobi is D tier. Shinobi doesn't have much going for him except his long range, and if you're decent at all, you'll be able to block it all. I normally don't lose to a Shinobi, and if I lost to a Shinobi, it's because the Shinobi just really outplayed me that round. He doesn't have much going for him at all. At all. You got to do the dodges to get the bash off, and yeah, like he just really doesn't have anything to work with. You know, you really have to outplay your opponent if you're going to beat them with the Shinobi. Next up, we got the Goki Boy. Goki Boy is solid, man. He is a great character. Like, you cannot go wrong with the Goki, dude. All you really have to do is press R1, and you're able to trade forever with somebody, because the hyper armor on the lights, dude, is just rough. And then his unblockable, it can either be faded into a guard break, another light, or into his bear hug. So there is zero opportunity to option select him there. When he puts you in that, you're forced into a 50-50, and it literally is a 50-50. Goki Boy, solid character. He has a bash, but his hyper armor is really what makes him solid. He's unable to be countered only unless somebody else is spamming him with bashes, and all he has to do is just get a dodge off, then he gets his guard break, and if you're by a wall, he gets a damn bear hug, so he gets more health. Goki is a solid character, can't go wrong with him at all. Next, we got Ms. Zhanhu. I'm going to put her at A tier. Unblockable lights. Fuck. Come on, that's hard, man. Unblockable lights. Okay. She also has the dodge attacks, which can be either light attacks or heavy attacks, and can come from either side. Nice and juicy. Her unblockable heavy can be feinted into a guard break. Okay. Alright. And then as well, she has an unblockable zone attack. So if she had a bash, she would be higher. But she doesn't have a bash. She's very reliant on using a dodge attack and using her unblockables. If she had a bash, she would be S tier. But since she doesn't, she's sitting nice and pretty at A tier. Next, we got the Hito. Hito, A tier. Very solid character. Her light attacks are a little slow. They get parried a lot. But with the enhanced property and the unblockables, that puts her up pretty high. Same with her her bash. Her bash is the same as Centurion and Warmonger, with being able to feint it into a guard break or completely knock the enemy down, and it has hyper armor. So that also puts her up higher. Her lights and heavies are very slow, though. That's why she's not higher. But she is a great character. You can't go wrong with the Hito. Yeah. Moving right along, we have the Musha Boy. So Mr. Musha Man, he has an all guard, which is really good. He's very reliant on the soft feints from his heavies into lights to do any damage whatsoever. He has an okay opener, but if you're expecting it, it's really easy to parry. And that unblockable, nobody ever lets the unblockable fly in the follow-up. He has a hyper armor opener too, which is very solid. That one actually catches me. If it wasn't for the All Guard and the soft feints being ridiculous, he'd probably be D tier. But since he has all those working with him, he's at C tier. If he had a bash and maybe an unblockable that wasn't shit tier, like his one opener, he'd probably be B tier, maybe even A tier, because those soft feints are solid. But since he's lacking what he's lacking, he's sitting right where he's at. Next, we got Mr. JJ. Mr. JJ is A tier, superior dodge property, very good move. If a character has that, it's immediately putting them up higher on my list because dodge attacks are ridiculous in this game. They really are, especially if the person isn't expecting it. He has soft feints, good dodge attacks, able to feint heavy into a bash from the top. He has an unblockable that he can also feint. All around solid character. He has hyper armor too on a heavy, so that puts him up higher as well. He'd honestly be a bit higher if his bash was a tad bit better. And I don't know, honestly. I might put him at S tier. Nah, I'm leaving at A tier. He could have more, but no, he's sitting nice and pretty at A tier. Definitely a solid character. So next we have the Nuxia. So I'm pretty sure the Nuxia was pretty low on my list last time. He's up higher now. His zone attack is kind of meh. His dodge attack is kind of meh. But those traps though. Those traps are really a game changer. That's why he's not like C or D tier, is because of those traps. If not for the traps, he'd be lower. But those traps are ridiculous, especially if you're a parry happy guy like me. I'm always trying to get parries off. And against the Nuxia, that is not the Pog, not at all. So yeah, Nuxia B tier, those traps are solid. She could definitely have more going for her though. Next, Shaolin. I'm going to put this man at B tier. Shaolin is good. He has a pretty good dodge attack. I'm pretty sure it has the superior dodge property, like the JJ, Kensei, and Gryphon. I could be wrong on that. I'm not quite sure. He's very light reliant. He can go into his key stance, but for example, like if you use the Centurion hyper armor gap closer, for the most part, that completely negates their key stance. And if you're like right in their face, just light attack them and they eat it. Shaolin doesn't have... He has an unblockable, but it's not too good. He has a bash. Does he have a bash? I don't think he... No, he doesn't have a bash. His unblockable is not that good. He does have an undodgeable dodge attack, but... Yeah, it's okay, I guess. Really easy to get parried. Doesn't have too much working for him, not at all. Alright, Mr. Tiandi. Dude, the Tiandi is S tier. Alright, if a Tiandi knows how to dance around their opponent, they're gonna dance around their opponent, and it's very, very difficult to hit them. They have their one dodge with the superior dodge property, and then they have their other dodge, which has an undodgeable property. Very solid. He has very good bash. The palm strike guarantees a light. His kick doesn't guarantee anything, but it's really good in gank fights for getting somebody out of your face. He has hyper armor on the heavy, but he does not have an unblockable. The reason he's so high up on the tier list is because he has his dodge attack that's able to be feinted into an undodgeable dodge attack. And he's very hard to counter, especially a good Tiandi. But, yeah, that looks like it's it, guys. That's everybody all the way from S to D tier from a console player's perspective, top 1% of the world. Anybody at the S tier, you cannot go wrong playing with them. Same with the A tier. Not as strong as the S tier, but A tier is still just as solid. B tier is when you start lacking in your potential. Conk is a strong B tier. He's like dwindling on the line of A tier. Anybody that's C and D tier, if you're playing on the high end spectrum of the game, you might be better off just getting somebody else. Because those guys have a lot that's lacking in their gameplay. But yeah. That was my For Honor tier list 2021. Guys, please let me know what you think. If you made it this far, like the video. Comment down below. Tell me what you think. Please subscribe so you know when the next video gets released. You can catch gameplay live on my Twitch. That's MadpwnageTV. I also upload clips on my TikTok. But yeah, it has been my pleasure. And until next time, MadTV out.